So while I was cleaning out the basement the other day, I came across this in a bin of old projects. This was originally going to be a quilt, and I cut out a bunch of squares and sewed them together. Actually, most of these are, I think all of these are hand sewn together because I was going to hand sew the whole thing. And I just never finished. I didn't really like the color combination at the time, which I think was the problem, and I just wasn't ready in that part of my sewing journey to take on such a big, long project like this. I don't think I'll ever turn this into a quilt. It's been 4 years and it's just been sitting there. So I had the idea of turning it into a dress. Okay, so I think what I'm gonna do, since this is obviously already all sewn together, I'm just going to use this piece for the bodice because it's already sewn together and none of the edges of this are finished. So that way I was planning on lining the bodice anyway, so then that way I don't have to worry about any of the edges. When I sew the rest of the squares together, I'm probably just going to serge them. So yes, I need to just find my bodice pattern and then cut that out. Now before we get to that, let's talk about the design of the dress. Now I wanted to keep it pretty darn simple because there's going to be a lot of different colors happening. The bodice is basically just a rectangle with armholes cut out of it and 2 darts, and then I added tie straps, and then the skirt is going to have 3 tiers and a delightful ruffle on the bottom, and then for the closure I just did a row of buttons down the back. And all of that should add up to a pretty delightful dress. Before I started properly sewing anything together, I just went through and reinforced all the seams because I had to cut through quite a few of them because this is patchwork together. So it is much easier to just do this now than having a seam come loose later when it's already all sewn together with the lining and everything. So now the bodice looks a little something like this. Let me move it down just a bit. Also Fig is here because she just needed to be held for some reason. The fit is not perfect. It's a little wide, and also the back overlaps like a ton, which I did do kind of on purpose because of the button closure in the back. So I'm gonna have to trim that back, and then I will be adding my darts here, and then I'll probably just trim this way on each of the sides. That is a project for later. The next thing I did was sew together the lining and figured out where the darts were going to go. Then I sewed together all of my strap pieces and spent about 4.5 turning them all right side out. So now that all of my little strappies are sewn together, which I think they turned out really cute, I really like them. I need to figure out where exactly I'm going to insert them onto this before I sew it all together, which means I also need to figure out how I want the back to work because I have given myself a lot of extra room on this back panel, a lot more than I definitely needed. As you can see, this pin right here is where the pieces touch at the back and the middle, so I have all this to work with. And what I was thinking is I do need to have some overlap to make the buttons actually work, so that, you know, they can overlap and button. I think I'm just going to fold this in like this, so that little edge meets where the pin is, and then that'll also act as reinforcement for my buttonholes, give it an extra layer, but also take it in a little bit. And I think that should be taken in enough. I might actually even do it a little bit. I might cut it, like trim it, and then do a little bit more. I haven't decided what buttons I'm gonna use, so I don't really know how much space I'm gonna need. Maybe I'll just fold it in like yay amount, then I have more than enough space for buttons. Okay, that's what I'm gonna do, and here do we go. Piggy, don't do that. Ah, Fig. Ta-da! It's cute. I really like how it turned out. Ta-da! I think I'm gonna have to trim it down a little bit more because my torso is a little bit shorter than this, but it's really cute. I'm just going to do a top stitch along the neckline, and then I'm gonna call it good for tonight, because then the next time I work on this, I can start working on the skirt. So for the skirt, I'm going to be keeping it pretty darn simple, and all I'm going to do is just take the measurement of my bodice, multiply that times like 1.5 or times 2 roughly, and then I'm gonna just sew the squares together until it reaches that measurement, and then I'll gather it to the bodice. I think because these aren't super long, I might gather like every other tier instead of every tier. And I'm just hoping there's enough squares of fabric here. I think there should be, but I also really have no idea. That's what I'm going to start working on now. Hello. So I am currently house sitting just for the weekend, and I brought along all my sewing stuff because I wanted to keep working on this. And I'm staying with two delightful doggies, one of which is over here. There's Toby. And the other one, Oliver. Very cute and good doggies. Now, this is Crooked. I don't remember exactly what I said last, but I finished the first tier of the skirt. So I'm just going to start gathering that and attaching that to the bodice. So to fix my lack of button placket, I decided to sew on another row of squares to the first row and then fold over the edges of each side over twice, about 1.5 inches thick, and then top stitch that down and then gather it onto the bodice. Okay, so there's been a bit of an unfortunate situation. The needle on my serger broke. I was kind of doing a stupid thing that I'm not sure exactly what happened, but like the little plate on the serger came up when I was trying to like make a longer chain without the foot being down. And the needle went down on the plate because it shifted and then it's gone. And I don't have any more needles because I didn't even think of bringing any because I never bring any. So I can't do any more serging, and I only got through like halfway of serging the skirt to the bodice. So that stinks. But I did get this all attached and it's looking pretty cute. I can do a little bit, like I can attach more squares together for the next layer of the skirt. I don't want to attach it to the rest of the dress until I like serge all of those. And also I'm really hungry and I was planning on getting pizza for dinner, so I think I'm just gonna go do that. So I don't know if I'll do any more sewing tonight. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'm also just trying to relax because I've been really busy lately, so I'm treating this like a little mini vacation even though it's just like an afternoon. I'm gonna go get my pizza. I am very happy with how this is looking. I think it's really cute. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling and go get pizza. Hello, so I am back at home and I am ready to stinking finish this dress. Also, Figgy is right here. Oh, come here. She's been a little crazy today. Look how big she is. She's probably like doubled the size in this video because it's taking me so long to make. Anyway, she has a lot of energy right now and can't stand to be held. Anyway, I already did a little bit of messing around with this morning and I fixed the needle on my serger, so that is all good to go. I believe what my plan is going to be is I pinned up the back just to see how it's gonna look. And dude, it looks like really good. I also have the buttons right here, which I laid out. They're just like simple little white buttons, not very interesting, but I just wanted them to be simple because the rest of the dress has got a lot going on. Anyway, I'm really happy with how this is going. I think my next course of action is going to be top stitching this bottom part together to where that pin is. So then the dress is fully enclosed or sewn together. So then the next several layers that I sew on, I can just sew them on in a loop. So then I just have to finish the last few layers of the skirt, do buttons, and then she's done. And I'm really gonna try to do it today. I'm not going to make any promises because I always make a lot of promises when I'm filming while sewing and then I don't always obtain them, but I'm going to try my darndest to finish it this weekend because I have the rest of the day today, which is currently 2 o'clock, to sew, and also a decent part of the afternoon tomorrow to sew. So I'm going to get to work because I'm really excited to sew on this and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. And you can tell I'm excited because I'm yapping. So I'm going to stop yapping and get sewing. Okay, So I think what I'm going to do is sew all of this together, and then I'm just gonna hold it up to the dress and kind of see, like, I either am going to do like one more row of just regular squares not gathered, or do another row of squares that is gathered, or do another row of squares that are like cut in half and just do it like a ruffle. But I just don't really know exactly how long this is going to be, so I just want to sew these all together and then I'll have a better visual idea. And yes, I could just measure it and figure it out, but I would like to see it first, so that's what I'm going to do. And since this is basically just exactly what I've been doing this whole time, I'm not gonna show it on camera because just sew together the squares, serge, sew together, serge. I don't need any more footage to sort through because this video is already gonna be a monster. So that is the plan, and I go. Added the next layer, and it is looking quite fantastic. I'm not going to show you too much because that would be spoilers. It is just, it's like a fine length on me, like it hits like just at my knee, but I'd like it just a little bit longer. So I'm going to, I pinned this on just to kind of see what it would look like. I'm just going to cut a bunch of the squares in half because I don't really want like another full length. I just want like a few more inches. And sew those all together and make them into a cute little ruffle. And then after that will be buttons, and then hemming, and then she's done. Ruffle montage, go. Okay, it is all sewn together and that took forever and I am done. I am so ready to finish this thing. I have an hour left of my audiobook and like 2 more steps left on this dress that each involve several little steps, but I'm so ready. I just have to sew on the ruffle and then do the buttons and then she's done. And I am so ready and so excited. So let's go. I'm going to hem the ruffle first and then attach it. Big. Hey. And then the last step was just to hand sew all of the buttonholes and all of the buttons in my wee little tag, and then she was done.